Hey there friends, how's it going? David Potts with Song Notes here, and today we're going to look at Into the Mystic by Van Morrison. I'm going to focus specifically on the strumming and rhythm, because that is really the trickiest part of this song. So Scott, you wrote in asking, am I correct? You don't have a lesson on Into the Mystic yet. Easy chords, but I find the strumming pattern challenging. I'm just starting messing with it, so mostly the opening before the singing, and that is the hardest part, but I'll walk you through it. C sus2, right? That's just C with our left middle finger raised up, right? And there's a mute in there. And by a mute, he means a percussive kind of slap, right? Okay? You can hear that in about 3 or 4 seconds into the song, really. Second measure. So, yeah, capo 3rd fret. Scott, I'm going to help you out here. I love how specific you are with this request. It's my favorite kind of request to get. Strumming and rhythm are going to be the focus of this one, right? We're going to be capo 3rd fret. Now, the song looks like this. If we just looked at the chord progressions, right? We're going to have 4 beats per measure, okay? The intro is just a bunch of strumming of C. Now, the strumming itself is tricky. I'll talk about that in a second, but a bunch of strumming on C. The verse is just C and G, right? We were born before the wind, oh, so younger than the sun. Yeah, the bonny boat was won as we sailed into the mystic. Okay, 2-chord song as far as the verse goes. Now, we do get to this chorus or refrain or bridge, whatever you want to call it. That's just E minor to F, and then to C, and then E minor to F, and then to G, right? When that foghorn blows, I will be coming home, right? Stay on C. You can do that again, right? When that foghorn blows, I want to hear it. We go to G. I don't have to fear it, and I can't really sing like Van Morrison, but I'll try my best. That's the song as far as the chord progression goes. But let's talk about the strumming and the rhythm, because that is really how you unlock the magic of this song. Okay, so the trick to doing this is we're going to have to understand 16th notes, right? 16th notes, all this refers to is rhythm, okay? Now, typically, songs are 4 beats per measure. Not all songs, but most of them, and especially pop, rock, country, all that kind of stuff. 4 beats per measure, right? And those beats are called quarter notes, right? Just like you slice a pizza into 4, or split $1 into 4 quarters, you get quarters, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. About 85 beats per minute is Van Morrison's version. This is the quarter notes, if we were just to do a down strum on each one. Now, if we divided each quarter note into 2, we would get 8 pieces of the pizza, right? And that would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... But if we divided each 8th note into 2, we would get 16 divisions, right? A pizza cut into 16 pieces. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... And the important part of what I just did there, right, is the 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are all happening at a steady tempo, whether I'm doing quarter notes or 8th notes or 16th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1, 2. Now, if you want what I just did as a separate video that repeats, I have that over on my website page for this lesson, all right? It is helpful if you're just getting started with this. That idea of 16th notes can be tricky, but basically you want to get your hand used to moving in that constant up and down motion, okay? And I do have a drum track available as well. It's at 80 beats per minute. It's a great thing to practice over, okay? Now, how do you practice strumming this? Now, you kind of saw what I just did there. One of the things I recommend is getting comfortable with the sort of continuous down and up motion, right? Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Notice I'm muting all the strings right now. I'm not worried about chords. We can add chords later. You need to get your strumming hand sort of up to speed first. So just lightly touch all the strings. Don't push them down. Just lightly touch them so they don't make a noise anymore. And then the idea is we just down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up at a steady tempo, okay? And when you can, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... Now, as far as this counting you actually do, it doesn't matter if you're doing 1E and or you're making up other syllables. Just be consistent with your tempo, right? 1 a little, 2 a little, 3 a little, 4 a little, 1 and then there's 2 and then there's 3 and then there's 4 and then the 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 4E and there's a bunch of examples I just did right there. Find what works for you, but get your strumming hand used to that motion. Now, one thing you can do, which is a fun thing to do, is just do a 1, 2, 3, 4E and a 1, 2, 3, 4E and a 1, 2, 3, 4E and a 1, 2, 3, forienda. Okay, the reason I'm showing you this is it's a bit less hectic than doing the constant down and up strumming, which can get kind of tiring. And if you pick any chord, right, you can do 1, 2, 3, forienda 1, 2, 3, forienda 1, 2, 3, forienda 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's a nice way to start playing it, and here's a little trick. I'm going to skip ahead to something I was going to show you later. With this song, if on that first one count, you hammer on the left middle finger, 1, 2, 3, forienda 1, 2, 3, forienda 1, 2, 3, forienda 1, 2, 3. That's something Van Morrison does, is on that one count, he is hammering on. He's strumming that C with no middle finger pushed down, then he hammers it on after the strum. Okay? 1, 2, 3, forienda 1, 2, 3, forienda. On the forienda, I'm doing no middle finger there. Okay? That's a fun way to capture, again, what you can hear Van Morrison doing if you listen clearly, and it's a great way to make that a bit more interesting. So those are some first steps to get started with 16th notes if you need to get your right hand used to that motion. It can be tricky at first, but basically the constant down-up strum will help you. Okay, now how to actually strum this song, though, and actually sing it. Here's a bunch of versions you could do, a bunch of strumming patterns. Now, one pattern we could use is this one. It's a bit of a simpler one. It's a down, 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 up, down, down, down. It's mostly down strums, which keeps it simpler. It's not really capturing the Van Morrison magic, but if you're looking for something to get started, that's a great one to start with. But from there, we might want to level it up a little bit and add some up strums to make it a bit more interesting, right? This pattern I like to use is a down, down, up, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, up, down, 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 up, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, up, down. Okay, here's what that would sound like if you played it over my practice track. Hark now, hear the sailors cry. Smell the sea into the sky. Let your soul and spirit fly into the mystic. Now, if you want to level it up a little bit further, what we could do is a... Okay, that's going to require us to do a percussive mute. Now, this is not a beginner-friendly thing, right? I have two separate lessons teaching this, one from many years ago and one from a few months ago, where I teach you how to do this technique. So to do that, you're going to have to basically apply the fleshy part of your palm down by the saddle or bridge of your guitar. Again, see my other lessons for that. But once you get that under control and you have your 16th note strumming under control, you could do that and strum this song. Here's what that would sound like if you played it with my practice track. Again, a bit trickier, but it's going to capture more of Van Morrison's vibe there, especially if you're playing by yourself without a band or, a bass guitar giving you that full sound, right? That 2 and the 4 count, that percussive strum really fills things out, okay? So those are the patterns you could use to play this entire song. If you need to refer to these outside of this lesson, on my lesson page for this on my website, I have audio samples of all these. It just loops and you can play it, you can listen to it, use it as you practice. And I also have a drumming track, an audio drumming track that's 80 beats per minute. It's similar to a metronome, but because it has a drum, which is similar to Van Morrison's drum in his album version of this song, it feels a bit more like you're playing along with musicians as opposed to a sort of boring metronome. Okay, so check that out. Those will help you get going with this and feel comfortable with strumming this entire song. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is how to strum the first 10 seconds, which is what Van Morrison does in the album recording of this. Here's what it looks like. Okay, this is a 2-measure sequence here. The thing I want to call out, a couple things. See the highlighted, right, on the D string for that C. We're going to strum the C with no middle finger down on that 4th string, and then we hammer it on on the next 16th note. But it's not a different strum. It's one strum, but we hammer on our finger there, okay? Then we do a bunch of other strums. And then the last 3 strums of that first measure, we're gonna take our middle finger off again, right? Up, down, up. And then we go to the 1 count of the second measure. And then repeat what we did in the first measure. So you need to get comfortable doing this C sus2 to C hammer on. And the separate exercise I have written up in my practice sheet here is to do this, right? 1E into 2E into 3E into 4E into 1E into 2E into 3E into 4E into 1E into 2E into 3E into 4E into 2, 3, 4E. Okay? That sort of thing is incredibly helpful to get familiar with, because once you're good with that, you can add in the rest of the strums in that first measure, right? Okay? Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, right? And the second measure is effectively going to be the same pattern, but on the 2 count, we're going to do that percussive muted strum. And again, see my other video for help on this, where I break it down in careful detail. But the quick version is you do a down strum, and you want the fleshy part of the side of your palm there to hit the strings right before the pick does. And it needs to hit all the strings. Otherwise, some of them might ring out, okay? But give it some practice, give it some time, right? And then you get this. Okay, I did about 4 versions of it there. Some were better than others. And you can sneak in other up and down strums if you want, but make sure that 2 count is getting that muted strum. And that's what you'll need to play this song as far as the rhythm goes. Again, that first 10, 20 seconds is tricky. If you want to mimic Van Morrison, you got to sort of do what I showed you there. But then once the singing goes, he's kind of loosening up and not doing that full percussive strum as heavily. He just has the light 16th notes. You want to master that sort of up and down strum, get comfortable with it, get really kind of be able to add that hammer on to the C, right? In a real liberal way, use it a lot, right? Add in filler strums. You could just do constant down and ups. But you want to leave some space in there. You don't want to just be doing, we were born before the wind. This would be too much, right? Okay, what you just saw me doing there as a final bit of advice is that final up, down, right? Up, down, on the last part of each measure. It's okay to give that some oomph, and then you sort of just sail into this. I don't know if the song is about flying or sailing or what, but just the soaring, right? That imagery and that feeling is there, right? So it's almost like the last couple counts of each measure, N4, N1, or jumping off the thing, or paragliding, sailing, whatever it is. You're taking flight and you're kind of going into the unknown or mystic or whatever. That's a great thing about music and the imagery of his lyrics here. So that's going to be the strumming guide for this song, y'all. Check out my lesson page for this on my website. If you want that practice track, you can play along with it, right? It keeps a steady 80 beats per minute tempo. It shows you the chords you need. You can bring whatever strum you want. You can just do simple strums, right? You could do constant, the percussive thing. You could do that. You could work on your soloing or do whatever you want. It's there waiting for you. And I have a few practice tracks available as well, and some of these strumming things in audio formats. You can listen to the strumming patterns I'm doing and really narrow in on them and get them going for you. All right. Thanks for watching, y'all. Thanks for writing in with this email, Scott. I hope this is helpful. If you all would like to see a song sheet for this song, let me know. If enough of you request it, I will put it together. I think the lyrics for this kind of thing are a bit easier to find. There's tons of places you can do that, but the strumming and rhythmic instruction are the more rare part. So that's what I wanted to focus on in this lesson. Make sure you all had that first. All right. So thanks to all of you who are supporting me with membership. If you're not a member, please consider joining on my Song Notes website. If you've watched this far, I guarantee you're going to dig all the other lessons I've made, the courses I've made. I have so much helpful stuff over there. You also get access to the Song Notes community forum. It's a great place to ask questions, share progress, share great music and all that sort of thing. And plus, you get access to my courses and my entire library of my instructional PDFs. Those are not the song sheets. The song sheets are licensed for separate purchase for copyright reasons, but my own PDFs like I made for this lesson, right? Showing you this rhythm stuff. This is included in my instructional PDF library. I have hundreds of those available to members, whether you stick around for 1 month or a few months or longer. It's all there for you. So I hope you find this helpful, y'all. I'll see you in the next one. And until then, take care. Bye-bye.